Okay, guys, we'll get started. Thank you very much for everyone who's joined the webinar. Let me quickly introduce the context of the webinar today. And before that, myself. So, guys, my name is Kshitij. I'm one of the founding members of D2C Insider. Extremely excited today to have the team from Amazon Propel and one of the early success stories of Amazon Propel. We have Deep Bajaj from Sirona with us, who's going to share with us a lot of insights. We have Akshat and Ria from the Amazon Propel team, who will give us context around the program structure, the benefits, and also take up questions from our community members. Guys, let me begin with a quick round of introduction about Propel. So, Propel is an accelerator program by Amazon, wherein Amazon selects a few brands from the Indian ecosystem and handhold them and take them through a process of a 12-week learning and development around how to build this business on a global scale. What are the best practices for it, and also they end up covering about a lot of things with respect to how to build your organization as well. So you will see some phenomenal investors as part of the panel with the likes of Sequoia, Axel, V3 Ventures, and many more. There have been a lot of startups already from our community who've been a part of season 1 and season 2 of the Propel. Brands like Azani, Sirona, Wellbeing Nutrition, Rage Coffee, True Elements, Bellora, Flatheads, SK, Paris, Almo, Minimalist, Soul Threads, to name a few, who've already been a part of season 1 and season 2 and have seen phenomenal success for them in the global marketplaces of Amazon. With this, I would like to pass on the baton to Akshat, who will take us through the program structure. We'll spend about 15 to 20 minutes on the program structure. We will then hand it over to Deep to share his success story on the Propel program. And we'll leave the last 15 to 20 minutes for our community members to ask any questions. My request is to put up the questions in the Q&A section so that once we are done with the introduction of the program and hearing from Deep about it, we will take up those questions as part of the webinar. So thank you, Akshat and Ria and Deep, for joining this. Akshat, passing the baton to you to take it forward from here.
Perfect. Hey, thanks a lot, Kshitij, for making this webinar happen, and thanks a lot for the quick context on Propel, right? Thanks a lot, Dee, for taking out time. I mean, you have been a great proponent of Propel, so thanks a lot for that, for being here. Hey, hi everyone. Just to give a quick context, as you know, Kshitij mentioned that how we at Amazon Global Selling have created Propel and go about it, right? We have a deck in place, which Ria, would you be projecting that? Cool. So the idea behind Propel, maybe I can talk a little bit about the genesis, right? It was very simple, right? There were a couple of D2C brands that started doing amazingly well on our platform. In 2020, when we were internally discussing what to do next in terms of enabling Indian sellers, right? So as a team, Amazon Global Selling started in 2015. The idea was simple: to take Indian sellers global, right? And in the first few years, we engaged with good bunch of exporters, manufacturers, distributors, right? And in first 4 or 5 years, we saw tremendous growth from there, right? In 2020, we were thinking how to quadruple it, how to ensure that we grow 10x from here where we were back then. And we realized that there are good bunch of D2C brands back then, and thanks to COVID, because a lot of D2C ecosystem emerged at that point in time, right? And we felt, why not to do something which can templatize a success phenomenon for our D2C ecosystem, which was very well budding at that point in time, right? And that is how the idea behind creation of Propel came in. Ki why don't we create a program which can identify emerging Indian startups, help them with whatever they require, and I'll talk about the program details and you'll figure it out. It's not just expansion on Amazon globally. It's much beyond that, right? And I'll cover all those components as I speak today. But that's what the genesis of the program was. If you can go to the next page, Ria, please. Thanks. So, as I mentioned, right, when we were taking stock, there were a couple of okay, I'll maybe talk about Amazon global selling, right? We are present in more than 15 different marketplaces, with North America being the largest, followed by European marketplaces. In terms of emerging marketplace, Middle East is very fast and growing marketplace for us, wherein we entered late in 2020, and within last 2.5 years, we have seen immense growth. One of the reason is the Indian diaspora, or rather Indian subcontinent diaspora, that is part of these marketplaces. So brand recall, brand identification is there, right? In terms of North America, so it is the largest marketplace for us, probably a 20-25x of what Indian marketplace is, right? So in terms of opportunities, in terms of buyers that are there, the access the brand gets to different kind of buyers in these geographies is immense, right? That's one key thing which we drive within Amazon global selling, and we have taken a pledge of $10 billion to be enabled from India in exports via Amazon global selling by 2025. And this is a pledge which Jeff Bezos took in 2019 when he visited India. Last year, Amit, who is a senior vice president, doubled down on that pledge, saying that we'll enable $20 billion worth of exports cumulatively by 2025 as we exit, right? So that is something which me and my team work towards, and Propel is one of the programs which kind of drives that enablement, drive that ecosystem for the D2C community over here in India. We can move to the next page. So these are a couple of brands that we have we have been working with very closely in last couple of years, and I'm sure folks over here who are attending would have known almost all these brands, right? I mean, these are some of the flag bearers in their categories on our platform. And the other thing which I wanted to highlight was the types of categories in which we have seen success stories. So it's not just restricted to a particular type, particular category, particular subcategory, right? So it is across, right? In beauty and personal care, you have Mama Earth, Sirona, Minimalist, Soulflower, so on and so forth, right? We have some good brands in fashion and apparel, food and beverages, electronics, toys, home and kitchen, right? So it's a very well-rounded success template which we have seen some of these brands have created in our engagement with them over last couple of years. Moving on to Propel, right? So as I was just kind of sketching around why we felt what we felt, right? Broadly, there were four problems we identified back in 2020, right? And this was all basis the engagement we have been having with the D2C brands we were engaging with at that point in time, right? And the four problems which based on our discussion we identified, one was the structured mentoring support, right? So this is something which couple of you folks might agree with. Within Amazon, the system is so complex at times one isn't aware which team to reach out to or what engagement to take forward. And even outside of Amazon, in early days, a brand might require some strategic inputs on their functioning, right? That sort of structured mentorship support wasn't there at that point in time, right? The second was access to investors. While I'm sure many of you would be engaging with couple of funds, but typically in a fund, what happens is an analyst or an associate engages with the brand founder, does most of the heavy lifting in first few weeks or months, right? And basis that only a select few get access to a principal, and then select few from that rather get a direct connect with the partner of the fund, right? So while access to investors was there in some bits and pieces, but it wasn't really there. I mean, if you're not directly pitching to say Rajan from Sequoia or Kanwal from Fireside, there's a good chance that you might not be the 1% who might end up pitching to them, right? So that was another big area which we identified, right? Third was a support to scale up the business, right? While at a team level, at an org level, we used to drive a good bunch of activities, but we realized that between a D2C brand and other kind of sellers, a distributor or a reseller or a manufacturer, the needs were very different and very nuanced, right? For the right reasons. Because a D2C brand would want to carve the story in the ecosystem they are entering into, and that requires additional support, additional help. Right, so that was the third, and fourth, of course, is the market understanding, what might work, what might not work, right? That was the fourth thing which we identified, and uh, we got good bunch of top leading marquee VC funds who were active in the D2C space to partner with us, right? We have had Sequoia and Fireside in the season one, which we launched last year. Based on the feedback we received from our cohort in season one, we doubled down on that. We also added DSG and Axel to it. Internally, Amazon has Amazon Sambhav Venture Fund, which is a $250 million venture fund we have in house. We also got them onboarded onto our program, right? This year, in addition to the 5 partners we had last year, we also got Whirl Invest or V3 Ventures into the mix, given how bullish they have been on the entire D2C space. In addition to these 6 VC funds, there are a couple of offline connects we enable with other VC funds, right? As per a need arise, or as per a brand reaches out to us. So the idea has always been to ensure that within this umbrella, we are able to enable the brand, enable the founder to go in the right direction in terms of their journey, right? And global expansion is just being one of them, as you can see the problems we are trying to solve for, right? We can move on to the next one. Okay, very quickly. So, what this program is about, right? What do we do in Propel? Within this program, under season three, the way we are going about this is the applications are open right now, and till 30th of April, you are open to apply. After that, it's a new element which we have brought in this year. We are going to do a 4-week boot camp. In fact, we have already been running this boot camp for applicants who have applied earlier on a rolling basis, and the idea is very simple. If all of this makes sense to a founder, it's only fair that they should be live at the time they are a part of the cohort, so that whatever learning they get from the sessions, whatever mentorship they get, they are able to implement on the global side of their journey as well. This is the first time we are doing this, again based on some key inputs we received from season 1 and season 2 founders of ours, and some brainstorming we did on our ends, right? Once the cohort is in, which will happen by the end of May, in June and July, 8 weeks of workshop sessions will happen, wherein we have speakers. In the past, we have had speakers like all the partner funds, Kanwaljit, Rajan, right? Prashant from Axel, Hariharan from DSG, so on and so forth, internal Amazon leaders, right? In addition to that, we have successful brand founders who have scaled very well on global marketplace to share their insights, their learnings, right? In addition to that, access to whole range of different Amazon internal teams that can add value in any meaningful way they can, right? And then we have industry stalwarts. Last time we had Mr. Sanjeev Bhikchandani talk about how to hire, how to scale brands in an early stage setup, right? So on and so forth. So there are good bunch of sessions which kind of aim to enable a brand founder to go on building the brand the right way, scaling in the right way. Of course, support on the global expansion piece, connects with Amazon leadership, external VC fund leadership, so on and so forth, right? In terms of benefits, I'm sure all of you would have already read through these, but I'll quickly highlight some of the big ones, right? So after the workshop sessions, at a later point in time, we do a demo day, wherein all the founders pitch to VC funds and Amazon Sambhav Venture Fund team, and top 3 get a combined equity free grant of $100K. This is our way of ensuring that we put some equity free grant behind it. In addition to that, threads open in terms of equity investment from different set of VC funds you will be engaging with. Last year, one interesting thing happened. Some of the founders reached out saying, ki, "Hey, we are not looking to raise equity fund, but we could definitely use a cash injection for say another 6 months of time." Right. So that made us to think, why are we only going after equity? Right? Why not debt? What's the harm in that? Right? And this is the reason that this year we have also partnered with two revenue based financing firms. One is Club, the other is Velocity, and they are going to offer better than market rates that they do outside of in the open market for the Propel cohort. And the idea is very simple. If you're not looking to raise equity fund, you should not be forced to, right? If debt funding is something that can help you out, that should be an option available to you as part of this cohort. So that's an additional element that we've done this year. Um Apart from that, I think I've broadly touched all the other aspects, right? You will get one-on-one times with all different leaders, these funds. You will get support from all sort of Amazon team, which you would need to connect with. Say we connect you with 10 teams, you want to connect with 11, 12, we'll make that happen, right? So we'll be the go-to program in terms of your access to the entire cohort of Amazon offerings. We can move to the next slide. Cool. Program timelines, I think I broadly captured it, right? Till April 30th, the application deadline is there. By May, and we'll announce the cohort. June and July would be the 8 weeks of workshop sessions that we'll do. And sometime in September, we'll do a demo day. Last year was the first time we did an offline demo day on 7th of September. Similar timelines we are looking for this year as well. Cool. Some program highlights. I think I would have captured some of them, but in terms of cohort size, so first year we started small. We weren't sure. I mean, would this make sense? Not make sense? We started with a cohort of 10. Saw good result, good feedback. Deep has been very kind to us. So basis that season two, we felt that, hey, why not do it for a larger cohort if we can impact more D2C founders within this program. So we went 15, got good set of feedback, and also we see the Indian D2C ecosystem is growing at a much faster rate in terms of the number of brands we have, the number of different problems the founders are solving, and it's only fair to ensure that we are able to impact positively more number of such D2C founders. So this year we are going to up to 50 startups within the final cohort. We do not want to not have a founder with us just because we have a upper limit of 15, 20, 25, right? So we thought that let's go 3x. Let's ensure that everybody who can get help, who can get support within this program, who we can enable to become a global brand, we should definitely do that, right? So this year we are going to have up to 50 startups within the cohort, right? VC funds I have touched upon. Revenue based financing I spoke about, right? The workshop sessions, we typically do 25 sessions. The idea is 3 virtual sessions every week for the 8 weeks of engagement. At times that number can change to 2 or 4, but typically we try to keep it 3 sessions, so that it's a fair mix of workshops spread it throughout. These were some of our amazing speakers and mentors in the last 2 seasons. And I think I spoke about Kanwaljit, Rajan, Sanjeev, Anand, right? Ankur was there. Internal Amazon leadership. So Manish Tiwari, I'm sure many of you would know, he's the head of consumer business, right? He was there to engage with the folks in the cohort, right? And so was Jordan, who was a principal product manager working on seller success stories on the US side. So these are some of the speakers and mentors. I think we've captured this, so we can move on. These are our Propel alum brands, and I'm sure all these brands are something which you would know about, at least most of them, right? I'll probably give a 10-second pause before we can move on. Okay. Some success stories. So, typically the way we have seen couple of brand founders, we were able to grow them on our platforms by a good amount in terms of their businesses, uh, s- be it Serona, Azani, Dimoksha, right? Many of our cohort founders were able to raise equity funds after their engagement within Propel, either via a thread which we initiated or otherwise, right? Which again is a proud moment for us in terms of how we were able to, chip in some ways, some ways and some form to ensure the global brand building happens, right? So that's there. Yeah. I'll probably pause here. You can read. So this is what Deep and Udit have said about the program amongst the other founders who have shared their perspective. And since Deep is here, I'm sure he'll share his perspective even further post this. Cool. I think that's all which I wanted to cover from my end. Maybe I'll hand it over to Deep. Uh,
Hi Akshat. Hello everyone. I'm Deep. I run Sirona, with a female hygiene brand, and we were lucky to be selected in the first cohort of Amazon Global Self Propel program. We ended up winning it, and back then the grant money, Akshat, you need to give me the grant money in retrospect. We got little grant money. We've doubled it now. But I think Amazon has played a very important role in our journey overall, and in recent years, especially the global sales program. I think the reason why anybody should apply to the program is, I believe, it's access to free expertise, which otherwise, how much can you talk to the panel? And it's effortless. All you need to do is just produce the products, and rest of the job their team is there to handhold in the international marketplace. What are the biggest challenges? Earlier, brands like us would not be able to sell internationally because you need a distributor to make to take the stock reach the end consumer. Now Amazon has the customer. The roadblock used to be, how do I get custom clearance done? How do I get understand the local pricing? How do I get access to local agencies? And I think all those problems, you realize that over the course of the program will be addressed in some form or the other, right? From logistics to advertising, these are part of the program. And those were the problems that Sirona was facing in the first year. We had not even raised our Series A back then. But we started getting traction from Amazon US, looking at the same portal. UK started tricking, Germany started selling, and it was fairly effortless. And that's largely because of the support that we got from the team. Program access to VCs, speaking to guys who've scaled it. I think all that is just cherry on the cake. But even if you're not looking at any of that and your objective is only to understand how can I sell in the most efficient manner by using the resources that Amazon has to offer, this program, I think, is the best place to learn some of those. So the rest of the things I think I've said, that we grew 4x, we've grown 4x in the last 3 years from where we were. We continue to do well. Um, and I think I'm happy to answer any question. Like, I know some of the community members who are here. So if there's anything that you want to know about the program, please reach out. I don't see any reason why nobody should not apply to this program. It's a fantastic program.
Thanks, Deep.
Perfect. Thanks, Deep. And thank you, Akshat and Riya, for the valuable insights on this. I think we can start with the Q&As now. For now, we just have one question, but I think folks on the webinar, please start putting up your questions. Aman, I think you've raised a hand, but if you could just put up your question on the Q&A, we'll take that up. So I think the first question, Akshat, is what is the minimum sales criteria for applying for this?
Sure. So to be very honest, right, there are so many different categories, so many different kind of brands. There's no fixed answer, right? We are not looking at a fixed number per se. But again, having said that, of course there should be some sort of initial traction so that global expansion would make sense naturally for your brand, right? So that you are able to, because when you will go global, there are a couple of one-time costs that happens, whether it's packaging and labeling, or is it certifications. So that is something one should be mindful of. From our end, we do not look at any hard-coded revenue cut per se. Typically, in the past, this is my experience, and like do not take it out of proportion, but what I've seen is that typically a brand that is on an annual run rate of upwards of 3.5 CR have done really well, right? So that's one thing which I've observed. But having said that, we do not take any hard coded number to begin with, right? And you can look at all the alums that we've taken in the past, and you wouldn't find any kind of revenue cut off over there, given they have been in different phases of their journey.
Got it. I think the second question was, which Deep answered, was do we need a US UK entity if one has to sell on Amazon US? But Akshat, if you like, the answer is no. We can sell it with an Indian entity. But Akshat, if you want to elaborate something on that, we can take that up.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Deep mentioned it, right? All you need to do is just take care of the products, right? Everything else we'll take care of, or we'll connect you with people who will help you take care of it, right? You do not need an external entity per se. With your Indian entity, with your Indian bank account, everything will come together. So, not an issue.
Right. The next one is it mandatory to be listed on Amazon India?
It is not, but if you're listed on Amazon India, you would already know how typically the Amazon ecosystem works. So your learning would be not that steep, but it's not mandatory to be listed on Amazon India.
I think Akshat, I'll just add to that. I
Yeah.
remember last time we got some benefits because you are listed on Amazon India, because the reviews and ratings get transferred to the
Yes.
respective international accounts of US and UK. So that way, when we are launching a brand in the US, you don't start from ground up with zero reviews or ratings, but all your Indian reviews and ratings also get transferred and propagated to the respective international accounts. So I think that plays a huge important role as far as initial traction is concerned.
That's a great point. Yes, absolutely. If you're already having your business on India, then all of that goodness will be transferred, which will help you with a very good start in the global marketplace.
Right.
Also, even if you're not, by the way, and you're starting there, the wine program helps, no, in getting the reviews, which is something
Yes.
that in India is something that we have to find our own alcohol around it. But internationally, there are programs available, uh,
Yes.
which helps.
Yeah, so what Deep mentioned, right? There's a wine program which can get you early reviews from the community of your product users, right? And that can be used if your product doesn't have any any reviews to begin with, or it's a new ASIN targeting the global marketplace, probably not in India.
Right. The next one is, can a brand who is still in pre-revenue also participate?
Unfortunately not, right? Because uh, and I'll be very candid over here, right? Because if you're in your pre-revenue stage, a lot of the sessions which we do would not just make any sense, and probably will happen at a later stage in your time. I would encourage you to apply for Propel season 4 or 5 basis how it goes, but it wouldn't make a lot of value addition to you at this point in time.
Right. So Shreyash is asking, what about trademarks in US? Example, if same brand name is present on Amazon US.
Got it. There have been some cases around this, and typically the way to go about this is your Indian trademark can be extrapolated to the global marketplace where you're going in. And as long as the different brand, so same brand names in different product categories, it doesn't typically make a lot of issue to begin with, right? But if the brands are doing exactly the same or similar kind of product categories, then definitely the person who has the US trademark definitely gets the support. At which point in time there have been cases where brand founders have modified their brand name for the global one. So they have a brand name in India. For global, they have created another brand name, and given they begin from level 0, I mean it's something, I mean whether the brand name is A or B, it doesn't matter to the US or a UK consumer, right? So that is what we've seen in the past. If Deep, you have a perspective over here, feel free to add.
Yeah, so that's why it's important to have the Indian ASIN, and trademark registry, everything, brand registry done for that first. So when we started selling, there were a couple of sellers who tagged the listing, but fortunately, especially for Peabody, we had a trademark here, we had a design patent, we were able to get them off. But because we didn't have the name registered in the US, beyond a point, we couldn't keep people who were tagging our listing away. So I think it's a problem that can be solved later. First is, we create the Indian listings because that ASIN is yours. That's unique to you. Get the trademark here, protect it. There's a very low likelihood that somebody else will tag your product and with the same name. If somebody already exists, then that's a different animal to deal with.
Got it. I think the next question is around logistics cost. So any insight about what's the logistics cost and how to maintain the pricing part?
Got it. I do you want to take that Deep? I mean,
No, go ahead. I think it just varies from category to categories, I would say.
yeah,
And uh,
yeah. So logistic
the
cost.
partners. Yeah, go ahead.
So we work with good bunch of logistic partners, and we ensure that in those engagements we keep them on their toes in terms of the pricing they offer, or the way they go about with their engagement with the brands. In addition to that, many a times a brand might already be working with a logistic partner for their India fulfillment, and they just choose to extend the same support from them for the global marketplaces, right? So broadly, these are the two ways in which the logistics engagement happens, and it varies a lot basis category, basis volumetric weight of your products, so on and so forth. And hence there always will be a variation, but within the partners we offer, we do a quarterly kind of check-ins to ensure that all of that is in place. Nobody is not getting charged the appropriate amount. So those are some sense checks which we do internally, and there's a logistic team within Amazon Global Selling that works on that particular charter. But those are the safeguards we take on our end, right? There was a second question which I could read from the question that was shared. That was on the pricing part, right? So assuming that's about the pricing of the logistic fees, then that is something which is taken care of. If it is about product pricing, so yeah, due to logistic fees and the variation in that in the last couple of months due to macroeconomic changes, that is something which always stays with the founders, so with the brand. So if you feel that you have to tweak your product pricing on the platform, that is something which will always stay with you, and you are free to do those changes, and the account managers allocated from the team ensures that you get the right inputs in those directions.
Right. The next one is with respect to F&B as a category. Do we get help on respective countries' FD approvals?
Yes. So as I mentioned, we work with good bunch of service providers, and one of the component of that service is to ensure for F&B especially that whatever different certifications are required, we share that with the brands, and then we connect with the partners who can help you achieve that in a faster turnaround manner.
Got it. Vineet is asking that if the brand is new and the product line is unique, can be applied? I think the answer is yes, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes.
Um, I understand the USA market is very litigious. Should we have some insurance or something else to protect from any litigation?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and relevant, and it gets relevant maybe not at the very beginning. Like the very first step would be to just get started, right? And initially, the checks which we do in terms of compliance and regulatory practices, we ensure that all those basic checks that ensure that your products are in those marketplaces are taken care of. The second thing which within Amazon platform, at a platform level we do is we do not allow any kind of product claims to be on the packaging or on the product, right? So these are some of the ways which at a platform level we take to ensure that you do not run into such situations. Having said that, we also work with couple of partners in our network who can help you with insurance covers on some slash all of these elements which can hurt you in terms of financial aspect.
So I think if I can break it in two parts, I'll say there is one compliance from the customs point of view. These vendor partners, like in our case, there is Telcor, and we were personal care products. So they went through each and every product and product by product told us that the, let's say, legal weights and metrology guidelines in India are different than US. So for every product, a different label was finalized, and that audit was done. And now we send only as per that. And second is, once you're there locally, so yes, you can once you start selling locally, can there be any claim? So there are product liability insurances that you can take. The same insurance that we had earlier, the product liability, we just extended it as a global liability cover.
Got it. The next one is, our brand page and A+ listing remains valid on US and UK stores?
Yes, they do. You can transfer your listings, and when you do that, you can transfer your content as well. At times, we suggest to uh, tweak it a little bit so that it's relevant to the marketplace you're targeting.
Got it. Randeep is asking, what are the top 3 marketplaces for pet supplies?
Got it. So, okay, probably a download I can share offline, but just to give a gist in terms of marketplaces, typically US is the largest marketplace across all subcategories, categories, right? And by far, it's the largest marketplace on within Amazon network, right? So US is definitely a go-to marketplace. But after US, typically what we've observed in our engagement with brands in last couple of years is that brands typically enter into one mature marketplace, which happens to be US. The second one after that, although the answer is Germany and UK, but brands apart from US choose to enter into Middle East marketplace. And the reason is simple: Indian diaspora, brand recall is high, the platform is new. So with right inputs at this point in time, you can be very renowned brand on the Amazon platform, say 2 years down the line. So it would be a great return on investment of sorts. So while the answer would be US, Germany, and UK, but in practice, what translates into is US and Middle East to begin with, and then the other marketplaces.
Got it. So is Indian Amazon sales a benchmark to be a part of the program, especially for a category which might have more potential out of India than in India?
No, it is not. So while it's good that a brand is already working on India with Amazon India, so that they know how the Amazon ecosystem works, but beyond that, and some other pointers, right? When you transfer your listings, your reviews will come, so on and so forth. But in terms of criteria, I mean, we are not going to put a cut on that.
Got it. So there's an interesting question from Harsha. He's asking that there is a thing called BRC in India, where we have the Indian bank which should reconcile every rupee coming in from overseas against the export bills. How does BRC gets handled for e-commerce exports, as a payment may not come in for every item exported, as some may be returned or destroyed?
Got it. Deep, I think you should
Yeah,
take.
yeah. So I see there are partners here again for this who will be able to help you with the reconciliation. I answered it for someone else as well. Yes, it is a part from compliance point of view. We have to be careful. Whatever item we ship, ideally, RBI expects us to get the money, for it. But it's a there is a solution available through vendor partners. Again, we can do it for Sirona. I mean, I can connect you, or Stelcore actually handles that part for us as well.
Right.
And they've been managing fairly well for the last 3 years now.
Okay. The next question is, what if you open the company in US, UK with common shareholder in Indian company? Can we apply for the program? I think Propel is indifferent to that, right? You may
Yes.
not have, you can still apply.
Yep.
So we'll skip that one. The next one is, in cosmetics, there are certain ingredients which are banned. How do you cater that in global market? So
I think our partner will vet it.
and it varies from country to country. So wherever it is banned, you can't
Yeah.
sell it. Simple as that,
Yes.
right? Does a brand has to commit stocks to FBA, or can an Indian brand ship through Amazon based on order received from India?
You do not have to commit anything to Amazon FBA. However, we have never had a success story out of 1 lakh plus sellers we have launched on global platform via merchant fulfill network, wherein you ship on an per order basis. And the reason is very simple. The customers in countries like US, UK are spoiled for everything, right? They have all arrays of choices. They get same day delivery for almost all kind of products. So if you're going to ship from India, even in the best case, that would take around 7 to 10 days for your order to get delivered. Nobody would wait for that long, as long as you're the only company that is creating that product, which again brings me to the point that you will not be, because there are a bunch of companies doing bunch of stuff which would coincide, right? Having said that, it would also not help you in terms of cost as well. Per order global shipments would be much higher than you sending a consignment that can help you with FBA directly. So while the answer is no, you do not have to commit anything, but in order to grow, that is the way to go ahead.
I'll club two questions, Akshat. I think there's a question around one first party seller and third party seller for Amazon US. And there's a club to that question. There's a question around returns as to how does one manage returns. So I think if you have a FBA fulfillment partner based out of US, return management is not a problem because they take care of everything. First party obviously will be so if you're doing a drop ship from India, of course, returns will be a challenge, and hence that's not the preferred route, right? Uh,
Yes.
I think someone is asking, I think Ria is answering that question. We have done the registration in Propel, so what next? So I'll leave that to Ria to answer. Do we get account management support from Amazon for this program? I think a very good important question, Akshat, that you might want to take up.
Yeah, so I think I have shared this in the presentation as well, right? You will get a dedicated account manager who will be working very closely with you on your business metrics, right? And we'll do weekly reviews. Check-in mechanisms will be there to ensure that everything is going in line with how your business grows. And that support is something which will stay after Propel as well. So it's not just this 8 weeks, 12 weeks thing. You will get the account management throughout, and we'll help you with that. Probably Deep can answer it
Yeah,
better
yeah.
because he was on the receiving end of it.
Yes, no. So I think that's the biggest takeaway from this program. Getting access to the Amazon account management team or all the people who you meet along the way, through webinars, etc. Now they are all who are, now 1 degree of separation away. So if there's anything that gets stuck, there is obviously the team. The first point of contact is also very, very responsive. But if they're not able to help, you can always go to the other people. And even now, if we are stuck anywhere, we reach out to Akshat and team to solve some of those problems for us. So I think that is the biggest takeaway. We know how to make great products. All the other problems you will solve along the way, right? How we solve it for every other channel, offline ke liye distributor, money collection, remittance, reconciliations, trademarks, all those things we understand ourselves. The biggest help that we get here is that at Amazon US, unlike Amazon India, where they've got so many human beings talking to you, solving your problems, Amazon US, you talk to an email. So that access that you have someone here is available not only during the program but even after, and that is worth its weight in gold. Rest everything is just an icing on the cake.
And Deep, just to add to your point, because we were also a part of the season 2, right? My personal experience has been that the team on the global side is super proactive, considering this
Yeah,
initiative is fairly new,
yeah,
and there is a lot of success that they want to deliver. So you will see a lot of proactive account management in the
yeah.
global team for sure. Uh, right. I think the next question is, what are the parameters of the brand are checked for selecting in the cohort? Akshat, maybe you want to take that up.
Sure. Uh, Again, a lot of things depend basis which category you are in, how you have been doing on the India side. Again, then the kind of team that is in place, right? In terms of how you are executing what you're working on, right? In addition to that, elements around how your business has been evolving over last couple of years, right? So these are some of the basic parameters which we look at. right? And then what kind of global expansion strategy you have in place, right? If that makes sense in terms of going global, then these are some of the parameters which we look at. I mean, which I can share openly as well.
Got it. What is the potential for handicrafts, especially higher AOV products for US, Germany, and Middle East market?
Great question. Typically what happens with the handicraft slash, I mean, this is something which comes under the home category, right? Wherein it would get into the home decor segment, right? And home decor as a category has seen some good growth in last couple of years within our platform. The only challenge which at times happens is the average AOV basically is quite high. For many of these products, in which case we have to figure out the way in which a lot of this can come together broadly from three angles. One is inventory management. Second is your the shipment challenges that might happen due to the weight of some of these products, right? And thirdly, the demand estimation, because given these are higher AOV products, you just can't stack 1,000 units each of your SKU in the global marketplaces, right? So this is something which on a case by case basis, our account managers work very closely with the brands on, and they help them to figure that piece out.
Got it. I think we have 8 minutes, so I'll take up 3-4 more questions, Akshat, if that is
Sure.
okay.
Yep.
Um, so regarding FBA inbounds, who will take the appointments for FBA shipments? Will Amazon partnered logistics deliver the shipments at FCs?
Like it happens in India. So I think that's a fairly standard one.
Yep.
What is the scope for spices? It's a question from Anubhav from Zillies.
Yeah, spices. Okay, I'll probably share one or two pointers around it, right? Vadam, one of the very big success story on Amazon global selling, right? They have expanded their portfolio into spices, right? Which kind of shows that even the bigger brands are going that way. We have launched couple of brands in the spices category, and most of the uh, like specifically the US users, most of these spices that come typically over there are via resellers or distributor way. So if a brand story can be created, it can be a good opportunity, right? And definitely happy to do a double click with the brand to take you through some insights, some angles, perspectives on that. But broadly, it's a great place to be in, great category to be in, and that Indianness story to that will make a lot of sense for creating that brand story in the US or other global marketplaces.
Right. Akshay, there's a question related to UAE.
Okay.
The question is one related to Arabic, right? Do we need to have Arabic writing on day one, or is there some relaxation for it?
Got it. So, Deep, you're present in UAE, right?
Yeah, I don't
So,
think it's required. Honestly, it's not a
So,
deal breaker.
so when we were exploring this, what I understand is that UAE, it is not mandatory. If you want to,
Yeah,
let's explore other markets like Saudi and
Saudi.
there it's required.
their Arabic is a mandatory requirement.
See,
But
start from US if the product is, if you're ready, if you're selling in India, US, UK, Germany, Dubai, I think in that order. And as is products, let's just ensure that you just need two partners, honestly. One who can tell you country wise the packaging compliance, and second, who can just ensure that your remittance is taken care of. Other than that, everything works how your India marketplace is working. So, but in order of priority, US, UK, Germany, and then Dubai. You don't need to go through translation as yet because वो Saudi में चाहिए होगा. But I think that's phase 2.
right. I think we'll take up the last question. What is the payment cycle for Indian sellers in global selling? And Akshat, I think there is a question around fees as well. So maybe it would be good to share some resources which I can share with the community, because there are
Sure.
ready-made pages available on Amazon US, UK, etc., which
Yes.
talks about all the transaction-related commercials, right? So maybe if you can share that with us, we can share it with the community for the reference.
Sure. We'll share the resources with you, Kshitij, which you can pass on. In terms of payment cycle, it's a 14-day cycle. I think very similar to how it works in on India side as well. So in every 14 days, whatever your products are sold, minus the fees, is something which is remitted into your bank account, which you would have shared during registration, right? And resources on fees and payments, we'll share it with you, Kshitij, which you can pass it on.
Perfect. Perfect. I think we are done with most of the questions which were relevant. I think there are a few category related questions which I don't think we all here can answer, right, in terms of potentials and scope. But I think it was more about understanding the US, the Propel program, and how can it help in terms of scaling your business to the global markets. Folks, if you guys have any other questions later on after the webinar, please feel free to write to us. I will share across the email IDs, and maybe we can offline. So Ria has already mentioned the email ID here, and at offline we'll be able to send answer back your queries. After this webinar, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to reshare the application link using which brands on the community can then um, apply. Yes, Ria, you can put the application link here on the chat as well, and I'll nonetheless share it on the community too after the webinar. But thank you so much, guys, for joining this webinar. Thank you from all the brand owners who've joined it. Thank you, Deep, for coming through and answering a lot of questions and giving the other side perspective, which is very important for all our fellow entrepreneurs. Thank you, Akshat and Ria, for coming to the call and helping our community members get their queries answered. I think we are extremely excited and about the program. I have myself been a part of season 2, so I know how valuable this is. And as Deep rightly mentioned, I see absolutely no reason why one should not apply for it. There is only a lot to gain and nothing to lose, right? But I would also say that if you have a clear focus on global, you will see much more advantages of the program,
Yeah.
right? And you will be able to derive a lot of value addition. One beautiful change that has happened between season 3 and the earlier seasons is the introduction of the 4-week bootcamp. So what that essentially does is that it helps you to set up your accounts even before the 8-week training cohort begins. And what that does is while you are getting trained on the program, your accounts are all active, and you can keep doing those tests along with the process of getting trained, which is a beautiful initiative and change that the team has made. So guys, I think it's time for Indian brands to go global, and I don't think there's a better platform and a program available today which can help us go global. So thank you, Amazon. Thank you, Amazon Global Selling and the Propel team for organizing this. I think all our community members are extremely excited for it, and we'll come in large numbers for the applications. Hope to get maximum shortlist coming in on this one.
Look forward
Thank
to
you,
that.
Kshitij and Abhishek, for D2C Insider. Thank you, Akshat and Ria, for Amazon Propel. And guys, apply and then pray that you make it also.
Absolutely. I think there were 2,000 applications, 1,000
Yeah,
applications last time.
1,000.
15 were selected.
applications last time, 500 before. So yeah,
Yes.
even making it here, we are talking as if we made it and you help us. And so Akshat we'll have to request Akshat to help all our D2C Insider brands make it through. So yeah,
Absolutely.
let's best of luck to all of us.
Absolutely. Look forward to your participation. Thanks a lot for this, Kshitij. Thanks,
Thank
Deep,
you.
for joining
Thanks, buddy.
us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
I'll share the
Bye.
recording as well of the session. Thank you so much.
Bye,
And
guys. Bye.
great
Bye.
evening. Have a good
Bye.
week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.